We've reached the midway point of ACC play. Today begins the push for the postseason. 3 crucial points up for grabs in Durham as Duke's homestand continues against Raleigh rival NC State. So 4 ACC matches in the books, and here's how the standings are shaping up. You see Duke, even though they're the number 4 team in the country, they are still just in the final spot in the ACC tournament. That line denoting everybody down doesn't make the postseason. This is a crucial match coming up now here for the Blue Devils. Hi there again, along with former U.S. national team midfielder Lori Lindsay. I'm Alex Perlman. And Lori, not just Duke, but NC State, they're both treating this as a must-win, but for very different reasons.
Yeah, they certainly are. For Duke, it's about winning trophies, collecting as many points as possible, and more immediately about finishing in the top 2 spots of the ACC so that they can earn a first-round bye of the ACC tournament. And then for NC State, it really comes down to about building momentum and just winning games. 0-4 to start the ACC campaign, but all have been close matches. Now it'll be about, can they finish the season strong?
Well, Duke coach Robbie Church is very excited to have these two back. Olivia Migley, Michelle Cooper, big parts of their offense, and it certainly suffered with them out due to COVID.
Yeah, they've been impact players in the attack. Cooper, 6 goals on the season. She's been the X factor for them in the striker position. And then out wide, Migley, only 1 assist on the season, but so important, creating numbers up situations on that left-hand side. And then for NC State, it is Lulu Gutenberger, their captain, on that back line. And when you're trying to build momentum and trying to get wins, it starts defensively, but she also has the ability to create in the attack. 2 goals, 4 assists on the season. They'll look to see if she can get pushed up higher and be an impact player on set pieces as well.
5 straight 1-goal losses for NC State. You could argue the season starts right now, tonight, against Duke here on ACC Network. We are just underway here at Koskinen Stadium, number 4 Duke and North Carolina State. Alex Perlman, Lori Lindsay with you. Here in Durham, this is a crucial match, no doubt, for both of these teams. And for Duke, there's no question, Lori, that they're looking to get an ACC championship and advance all the way to the final. First, you got to make the postseason. Right now, they are in, but for this Blue Devils team that's coming back and has had some trouble scoring recently as well, you know, we'll just have to see. Only 4 goals in those 4 games in ACC play. That's going to be a big factor in their offense.
Well, with Michelle Cooper returning from having been out due to COVID, she'll be a huge factor. 6 goals on the season. She has been an integral part, not only just in front of the goal, but her work rate defensively, causing turnovers, causing the opposition so much trouble. That's created a lot of goal-scoring chances for Duke. She'll be key here in this game today.
Team that has a lot of talent, a lot of international talent, NC State. Just saw number 7 in black there. For the first time, Emeka Kawagishi coming over from Osaka, Japan. One of 6 freshmen in the starting 11 for Tim Santoro. It is a young team that has had some growing pains, and he said that, Lori, they just have not figured out how to win a close match. They've had 3 taken away in the final minute alone. I mean, can you imagine?
No, it is tough, and he said that they are in a troubling spot mentally right now. It's just been so difficult. Can't really figure it out. If they could pinpoint it, they would be able to fix it. But it's just going to be about showing up to these games and trying to gut out wins, because each match in this tournament, or this conference, excuse me, is so tight. We've talked about some of the powerhouses not being at the top anymore, North Carolina in regard. So good match for Tim's team here tonight.
Tim Santoro, who is trying to turn this program around. He said, quite frankly, we weren't very good when I got here, and now they've gotten to a point where the talent on the field matches an ACC level. And he should know, coming over from Wake Forest, he's been in the league for years. He was the recruiting coordinator there. Ball over the top. That was looking for Jamise Joseph, but the flag goes up, and the offside called. For Robbie Church, certainly one of the deans of the ACC, with a win today, it would be his 100th career ACC win. He has just been so good for Duke, so program changing. His 36th year as a head coach, Also at Charlotte and Vanderbilt before that. Beautiful ball played in now for Cooper. And just wide on the goal. Protected by Maria Echezarreta. Freshman from Salinas, Spain. Part of the Spanish under-17 and under-19 national team. She wasn't able to come back to campus during COVID. That was a big reason that NC State decided to opt out of fall 2020 because they couldn't get their international players on campus. What did Echezarreta do though, Lori? She went and trained with Atletico Madrid. Not a bad option either.
No, I think that's a great option.
Low cross set in and out for another goal kick.
So you don't want me to go with me? Just tell a different angle.
There's Mackenzie Pluck, the senior from North Wells, Pennsylvania. 17 career goals and assists. So far she has 4 of them on the season, 4 assists, the team leader in that category. Well, already for the Wolfpack, it is a better start than their last time out against Notre Dame. Really behind the 8 ball because of a first-minute goal let through by Echezarreta, though Coach Santoro said she really would like to have that back. I mean, we've seen her throughout the year, Lori. She makes some outstanding saves, some saves that a lot of goalkeepers in this country can't make.
No, but you do see a lot of the goalkeepers in this conference make those saves, and it's so needed because you need that game changer in front of the goal for yourself, whether or not it's game-changing saves or game-winning saves to keep you in because of how tight the competition is in the ACC. But as you mentioned, these first 15, 20 minutes are going to be so important for NC State to start the game, build confidence. Can they keep this game 0-0 or even get a lead in these early moments? Do wonders for their confidence.
I thought it was interesting what Tim Santoro told us. It wasn't necessarily like that early goal against Notre Dame that they let in changed their mentality in NC State's, but it did change Notre Dame's, and it changed their strategy as well. They put 8 behind the ball, didn't give NC State a chance to really attack the goal at all. I mean, they managed 1 shot on goal and 4 shots total throughout the 90 minutes.
Well, it is going to be one of those things with this NC State team. Yes, they're 0-4, but they have a lot of weapons, and a lot of different weapons to be able to beat you. So it'll be interesting to see how teams face up against them, how they try to stall their attack, and how they deal with it, especially with how young they are. You know, Alex, you and I were talking about off air. In some ways, this NC State team reminds me of this Duke side a couple years ago. Young squad, you know, tying a lot of games, couldn't get the results they wanted to, and just kind of had to keep building. And now they find themselves in a really good position. Yes, Michelle Cooper's been so important up top for them and elevating everyone else's play. But it also comes down to just confidence building and the experience within this conference.
Flipped up by Groff. Now here is Pluck. Plays a good one into the box and just wide off the outside of the foot of Olivia Migley, but better offensively there from Duke. And Migley will be a big part on that left wing out the last 3 matches with COVID.
And they've done a good job of already finding some wide areas in this game. It's just that last touch or that last shot on goal. It's a bit too rushed this time. It's Olivia Migley, has more time than she thinks, doesn't have a good angle, never gets the strike on frame.
Duke with 3 early shots against this NC State back line. He talked about anchored like by a player, the captain, Lulu Guttenberger. 2019 All-ACC third-teamer. You'll see plenty of her. There she is in the middle, number 6 for NC State, tracking back to the front post. And a long strike nowhere close there for Lily Nabet, who is using her extra year of eligibility because of COVID. She's coming in hot. Her first goal of the year came last game against Syracuse in a 2-0 win for the Blue Devils. Nabet scored along with Graham as well.
And Alex, she's one of those players, though, that kind of goes unnoticed. A lot of the attention on Sophie Jones for her technical ability on the ball and being able to wiggle her way out. But Nabet, the one that's like the true grit, the true destroyer there in the midfield that allows Sophie Jones and the others in front of her to be able to do the work that they do.
Yeah, whistle goes against Duke there. That's Tess Bodie. A grad student as well out of Highlands Ranch, Colorado. Bodie is so important to Duke. 3 goals this season, but Robbie Church says she has more in her as well. I don't think we've seen the best of Tess Bodie yet. Right back it goes to Cheza. That's Cesaretta's nickname. Now here's Jaden Thomas. High soccer IQ, according to Tim Santoro for Thomas, number 12 in black. And there's Kawagishi showing that international flair. A cutout, and maybe here's Duke on a counter. There's Pluck. Now looking ahead, Cooper was stymied by Gutenberger. Great matchup right there, offense to defense, that we can watch all match long. Because you got the freshman in Cooper, though she's one of the best in the country. Top Drawer Soccer just came out with their updated mid-season freshman top 100, and Michelle Cooper was number 6 on that list. And then you got the redshirt junior out of Germany, Gutenberger, a high-level center back.
And it will be interesting, Alex, throughout this match for Duke, and just their patience and composure we saw a second ago. NC State had a little good bout of possession, but then once it was given up, Duke able to show their ability to transition quickly from defense to offense. But then now NC State getting numbers behind the ball. Can Duke be more sophisticated in the attack, more patient, look for the better option, and that might result in a few more passes than they want or they're accustomed to.
Already Duke is really trying to stretch NC State out wide. Get some more numbers in the box. And some ladies that can really cross it in. Beach off the dribble as well. One of those is Pluck. Cooper threads it through. Kawagishi there to clear the danger, and she'll win the free kick for her team. This week, Sunday, we'll have a women's soccer field hockey triple header. Number 5 North Carolina's in Chestnut Hill taking on Boston College at 1 Eastern. Then we'll have the field hockey matchup between number 10 Liberty and number 9 North Carolina. That's a good one right there. And we cap the afternoon with our second soccer match between 17th ranked Virginia Tech and Wake Forest. All 3 right here on ACC Network and the ESPN app. One app, one tap. Virginia Tech into the top 25. Tugger's got that team rolling, and Robbie Church said, especially, Lori, do not count Virginia Tech out. Really, both coaches told us that. They love what they're doing in Blacksburg.
And it might look like there's some top teams on the outside looking in, but really so many games to play yet, and I think we're going to see those standings just look a lot different as you head into the ACC tournament.
We have seen that 1v1 matchup so many times, Lori, and really all over the pitch as well with Gutenberger and Cooper.
Well, there's no doubt that that is going to be the matchup of this game with how good Cooper has been, making her first game back after dealing with COVID. And Gutenberger, their best defender, captain of this team, and is what I mentioned. If you're trying to build momentum, if you're trying to get wins, it starts defensively. You have to have that grit. You have to be able to willing to put in the work. No better player than on the back line for NC State than Gutenberger to do just that.
And so Duke has the first corner of the match for either team. Gutenberger got her head to it. Jones, still damage not cleared. Off of the back of an NC State defender, and now finally sent out of the box. A lot of opportunities there for Duke, and NC State not out of the woods yet. Jones. Cooper trying that 1-2 game. Cooper gets to it first, and it's off of the crossbar.
And how that was not in the back of the net. This is much better sophistication from Duke. It's a little quick 1-2. And then Michelle Cooper does well to try to get on the end of it. You see the quick little combination play that gets just disrupted from NC State defensively. But then Cooper stays with it, can't believe it herself, tries to get her own rebound, but it's just too much momentum off the crossbar.
I mean, that was off the bottom of the crossbar. We're talking like inches right there.
And these are the moments, still early on in this game, Alex, but this is where Duke is going to have to show some of their experience. They're going to have to stay calm and patient. Another good look at the opportunity. How that does not find the back of the net. Good work from Michelle Cooper to stay with it after a little combination play. That's how you break down NC State, though, is drop so many numbers behind the ball. Already getting some different looks on goal for Duke, playing it out wide, then trying to look for a little interchange between Sophie Jones and Michelle Cooper.
That is like as unlucky as throwing out a lottery ticket.
Well, they just need to make sure that they stay patient, though, in their build-up and in their play, and don't start to rush and get too eager or frustrated by not finding the back of the net yet.
But in more of a macro view for this game, it just goes to show you what Cooper's presence does for Duke. It completely changes how they operate offensively.
Oh, it has completely elevated everyone else's game as well. You mentioned how important Tess Bodie is to this team, and honestly, she's the one that's been operating as that number 9 center forward the last few years and has all the tools to break down teams defensively. Duke earning another corner here, but she needed somebody else to help her because her true position is that attacking midfield role. And now Cooper, with her movement up top, has opened up so much space for Bodie and Pluck underneath.
Right, she slots back to one of those two midfielders in that 4-3-2-1, and that's exactly what I think Robbie Church wants to see. They want Cooper to be that center forward, the number 9.
Well, he does, and as he mentioned, she does as well. So she's probably the most excited to have Cooper back into the starting lineup because she can go back to that attacking midfield position.
Cleared away by Migley, and an NC State player down holding their leg. And that is Fernanda Soto, freshman out of Romeoville, Illinois, who has national team experience with the under-15s in the USA back in 2018. Soto back up on her feet.
Oh, it's just a tough challenge in the end. I think it's Cosme that comes over, make sure that she denies any opportunity for Soto on the in line.
A lot of space to operate for Pluck. And now the attack slows down. Cosme, grad student at a New Hyde Park, New York and Long Island, using her extra COVID year. This is a very experienced Duke team. And then you talk about a freshman starting in Cooper, who is light years ahead of most freshmen when they enter college soccer.
And it is not easy to come into the top conference in the country and make an impact, and goodness has she done that immediately.
Six goals, 3 assists already in 7 starts, coming back after missing those 3 games because of COVID, and the record certainly suffered. First 7 games, 21 goals put up by this offense. And they played very good teams, too. I mean, they were playing ranked teams all over the board. 3 high-quality wins in non-conference: Arkansas, Washington, and Stanford.
And you can hear Tim Santoro yelling play behind it. And with these 3 backs for Duke that they're employing right now defensively, there is space on the outside of those 3 center backs. That's the area that Tim Santoro is talking about playing it into. Duke doing a good job once they lose the ball, allowing for NC State to keep possession around their back line, but NC State not aware of where the space is and where they can exploit Duke defensively.
Duke knows that they can get into the other team's offensive third because with Cooper on the pitch, they've done it all year long. What Robbie Church wants to see is more possession there. Not just look for the first shot you can get, but pass it around, open up some space, look for the best shot that you can get. Luck dances, looking for an outlet. And Gutenberger was there every step of the way and earns the free kick. Well, you can see why she is heralded in the ACC. Coaches laud Gutenberger.
Yeah, certainly, and she is so good and just patient, denies Pluck any opportunity, just keeps her in the ball and just stands her up in the end and draws the foul. But that plays right into NC State's hands. They want this game to be slower. They want to slow the pace down. And Pluck just dancing on the ball. That's where she has to keep the ball moving. She wants to take players on 1v1 as we're seeing now. But there has to be a better understanding for Duke as well where the space is. And if it's not on to take on 1v1, just recycle, keep the ball moving. Because NC State is not going to want to defend for 90 minutes of this game.
Take it.
20 minutes in here between NC State and Duke. If you're just joining us, an 0-4 record in ACC play for the Wolfpack, but all 4 of those matches, and actually you take it back one more, 5 straight 1-goal losses. This is a team that is very close, and you feel like one big result that could be the difference between an NCAA tournament berth and not at this point. They went 4 straight years from 2016 to 2019 and made 3 Sweet 16s during that stretch. So you know that national success is possible under Tim Santoro because we've seen it for years. It's going to be very tough to win games if you don't put shots on goal, and NC State has not done that recently. Maybe they'll get one here. No. Now the block comes in from Duke. Last 110 minutes. Lori, listen to this. 4 shots by NC State in the last 110 minutes. That's the Notre Dame game, that is, and this one against Duke here.
Well, it is interesting when you're a team that's looking to get wins, you're trying to build momentum, you have these tight losses. Play into your hands. You have Joseph up top, who's so dynamic, who's good on the ball. Play a little bit more vertical. Go quickly, more forward into the attack.
Kawagishi. Ruthie Jones was out, and the whistle earned there by Duke. Jones has not had much to do, but made that stop right there. We'll talk about her as the game goes on for sure. Here's our college football lineup for Saturday right here on ACC Network and the ESPN app. It's Virginia and Louisville starting us off at 3 Eastern. The day capped off by our ACC Network primetime matchup presented by Geico. Number 14, Notre Dame in Blacksburg to take on Virginia Tech. Don't want to miss a game at Lane Stadium. No matter how well Virginia Tech is doing, that is appointment viewing. Koskinen. Jones. Shifts it back outside. There's Royson. Going on about 10 minutes now without a shot from either side. It was Duke dominating the possession in NC State's offensive third to begin the match. We've seen a little bit more of a midfield game in the last few minutes. NC State maybe starting to press a little higher. Here's Cooper, right in the middle of that quad defensive unit for NC State.
And it's the wrong pass. Pluck has to be yelling for that ball as the defenders for NC State start to converge on Cooper. The space opens up out wide left, and it's just another forced pass down the middle of that back line for NC State. And really that's what's letting Duke down right now, is just the decision making in the final third of where they can play the ball. The wide areas are going to be open for Duke all game. And then it's going to be a matter of the service that's being sent in, whether it's whipped in on the ground, sent in the air. Just a variety of different ways to get on the end of the ball in the box.
And isn't this exactly what Tim Santoro talked to us about? He wants to see more production, be a little more dangerous with the ball. And if you do get it in another team's offensive third, or defensive third that is, you have to make some better decisions to open up some pathways for you. Because you're not going to beat Duke, Lori, just running right at them. It's not going to work. You have to put a key in and unlock that defense a little bit. It's been tough to do for every team, though. We've only allowed 5 goals this year, with this 4th least in the country. Only other teams, Wake Forest, Washington State, and Milwaukee, giving up less. Kind of amazing, though, Lori. Wake Forest has still only given up 3 goals this season.
I mean, some really good defensive play from these teams, and one of the reasons why it's made it so difficult for teams to get results. Such close matches.
Reverse to Migley. And Pluck just wasn't turned around for the pass. Too heavy a touch for Jones, now Kawagishi. Dispossessed, and Bodie will play it back. Migley past Soto. Centers it for Cooper. Duke just probing now. Cooper again. Just wide. That was the bet that time for Duke.
And that's a better little spell of play from Duke. Just getting it out wide, looking to serve in. Now it's going to be about Duke getting more runs in the box. It was just a bet on the end of this one, trying to do it herself against 2 defenders for NC State. Have to have more runners in the box once you recycle it out wide. Just hits it wide, though, of the goal. Good opportunity from the midfielder making the deep run in. A lot of play, though, Alex, on this left-hand side for Duke. Soto just not able to keep up with the pace of Pluck and Migley once they get on the ball.
And a whistle. Free kick now for NC State. Maggie Graham into the game along with Sydney Simmons for Duke. Maggie, the younger sister of the starting right wing back, Delaney Graham. Both of them out of Atlanta. Graham just scored her first goal of the year last game. And she settles into the season. Jones off her line. Oh, and she collides with Graham. There is Graham the elder, who thankfully is no worse for the wear, even though she was taken out by Ruthie Jones, who's standing in there at 6 feet tall. The perils of being a goalkeeper. Sometimes you just have to put your body on the line. It's like being a catcher in baseball, but you don't have any gear.
That's why I never wanted to be a goalkeeper. No, thank you. Especially when you're tied 0-0 and your team's had a majority of the possession, not a lot of opportunities against you as a goalkeeper. You're forced to come out and make some saves. More of a mental game and actually a physical one at that point in time.
And Jones went basically all the way out to the top of her 18 as well. Way off her line. Ruthie, the starter since the second game of the year last year. She was rated the third best goalkeeper in the country coming out of high school, so it's no surprise that she ended up taking over the top spot. Pretty good career record, 19-6-4 with 14 shutouts. Intercept comes, and then the drag down of Soto by Migley. It's kind of amazing how at this point in the match, if that ball goes in by Cooper and it just hits the underside of the crossbar and bounces back, everything is completely different. Now NC State, you know, they haven't conceded. They're still in it mentally, and you can tell they're just going toe-to-toe with Duke now. Even when they do get it in the offensive third, the defense has actually been pretty good, I would say.
Yeah, they certainly have, and they're committed to getting numbers behind the ball and make it difficult for Duke in terms of where the space is and forcing them to kind of figure it out. And they haven't been able to do that. And that plays right into what Tim Santoro was telling us, which is continue to make this a 0-0 game, slow it down when needed. He'll be extremely happy with where this game is so far. Now it'll just be about taking their chances. Can they play a little bit more vertical when they break that first line of pressure as we're seeing right now?
Thomas looking to pick out the right pass to keep the attack going. It comes to Gutenberger. Now Joseph turns. And this is Brianna Weber. Joseph flipped in and sent out. Number 15 in black, certainly someone to watch for NC State, Jamise Joseph. She really is someone that needs to score goals for this team to do well. 4 goals on the season, none in the last 7. And she's trying to kind of take over that scorer role left by Ziara King, who of course now in the NWSL. There's Joseph, but she's running at 5 different Duke defenders. Hesitates, and now back over to Kawagishi. Joseph has a run from Soto. If Kawagishi can pick her out, she does. Back to the Japanese native. The attack just breaks down. On the flank, there's Nikki Chico with her first touch. Chico coming in after starting last 3 matches. Sophomore out of New Jersey, now Cooper. Two-man game there with Jones and Migley. Sent back out wide. NC State just swarming in here and forcing Duke all the way back to the midline.
Well, we're seeing one of the reasons why these games for NC State have been so tough and so tight. They do such a good job and they're committed defensively. And they have some decent ideas when they go forward. It's just too slow to be able to break down Duke so far tonight.
And the whistle goes back to NC State. Saturday, the Huddle is live in Blacksburg at a special time of 1 Eastern to get you set for the afternoon. The Crew's back at 6 to get you ready for number 14 Notre Dame and Virginia Tech. It's right here on ACC Network and the ESPN app. One app, one tap. It's a dozen or so minutes left in half number 1. We are still looking for the game's breakthrough. Best chance by far happened early on. Michelle Cooper just posting it right underneath the crossbar, bounced out, and that's the reason we are still scoreless. Nothing to write home about for NC State. No shots. And I wonder, Lori, as long as that goes on, is that like a slump that maybe you start to think about, or you wonder? Certainly the coaching staff, you know, if you don't put anything on goal, it's not possible to score.
Well, you know, it is interesting because when we did talk to Tim Santoro, we were like, what do you think it is in terms of losing these games? Well, you're also not producing on the other end of the field as much as you would hope as well to be able to put some of these games away. So yes, you are conceding, but there's not much production in the attacking third to win you these games either. So, I mean, that's something they have to look at, and how they're, in terms of how they're playing. You can see some of the ideas in terms of their build-up and wanting to keep possession, and as we have mentioned, committed to defending as a team, but just too slow. And if you have a player like Joseph up top, get her the ball early and let her run at that back line.
Headed away by Butler, who was actually tied for the team lead with 4 goals, even though she's a center back. And there's another whistle, free kick going the way of NC State. They have been getting most of the fouls. Every goal by Jenna Butler, though, is a header off a set piece, and I don't think Tim Santoro would be too upset if that was how NC State scored if this game finishes 1-0. Doesn't matter how they come.
Yeah, I mean, that's something to look at as well. Your 2 center backs have 6 goals between the 2 of them. That's
right.
Some good production rate. However, it seems like the opposite way that you would want that to be happening.
Jones dispossessed now. Kawagishi. And Joseph holds up play nicely. Neither of these teams really testing the opposing player in goal. 1 shot since the 14-minute mark between both of these teams at this point. Did that cross the sideline? No, it did not. Robbie Church, see at the bottom of your screen, there he is. Longtime Duke head coach thought for sure the ball totally crossed the white line. Soto now coming out of her outside back position. Join the attack. And he'll cycle back around. So, Lori, about what you expected at this point?
No, not really, actually. I think, you know, with this formation that Duke has been playing all year, just the 3 in the back, that allows for more width to take place and to get more options going forward. And we've seen a lot of when Migley was starting the game, her getting involved, Pluck coming out of the midfield as well. But one player that we haven't called a lot of is Delaney Graham and how good she is. And, you know, I think that's where it's been for Duke that they've been lacking, is just switching the point of attack, moving NC State's defense side to side. It's been very predictable on this near side for us, trying to attack. And as much as Soto's gotten beat initially, NC State as a team has done well to get numbers behind once that breaks down. I think going forward, it's something that Robbie Church will talk about at halftime, even if the score stays the same, which is patience in the final third when it's not on to go quickly. But at times, can they invite NC State to have possession, to open up space in behind NC State's back line so they can quickly transition. That is where Duke is at their best, is when they're going forward quickly. But because they have a majority of the possession, it's breaking down. There's not a lot of space in behind.
I have to agree, and I thought we would see a rejuvenated Duke offense as well. And maybe in the beginning of the game, we did see that with Cooper. You know, she made that huge impact, but since then it's been really hard to get her the ball.
Well, in some ways, I do think that we are seeing a rejuvenated attack. These players are eager to score goals, but sometimes when you get in that mindset, then you don't look for the best decision. You look for the quickest decision, and it's easy to break down. We saw initial few shots early on from Duke, just weren't even on frame because they rushed it too quickly.
It's interesting, too, because that's exactly what Robbie Church wants this team to work on. So if you frame it with that lens in watching the game that way and seeing what does Duke do when they have the ball in the offensive third and just seeing the decisions that they make, you can, you can kind of watch it that way and make up your own mind as to how Duke is doing in that progress and that transition.
And that's where Sophie Jones is so important to Duke. Getting her on the ball more. She's the one that's sitting a little bit deeper, and with how deep NC State's defense drops once Duke does get a hold of the ball, it'll be Sophie Jones as the outlet, and she can strike from distance. So that's something that we haven't seen either, is somebody just stepping up and putting their foot through the ball, looking to see if they can test them on goal, but then also see if that pulls out NC State's defense to open up more space in the pockets.
There's Zimmer, number 2 for NC State, wearing black. She's missed the last 4 games playing for the German under-19 national team. Was in Russia for Euro qualifying. And 3 matches with the German national team. 2 wins and a draw as they advance to the next round.
And I like the route that Tim Santor is going with, that international flavor in terms of recruiting. It's something that you and I have talked about as well on different broadcasts, and that's changed a lot throughout the years in terms of, are you going with homegrown products to recruit? Are you staying very close and regional? Are you going more nationally? Are you going internationally? And early on, it was Mark Krikorian who started that when he was at Hartford before ever going to Florida State. Really tapped into the international contingency that he had, and it changed that program. Seen a lot more programs doing that just to have a different niche, giving themselves a different look and leg up on recruiting.
Just in front of Bodie. She was looking to put it into the back of the net for our game's first goal, but NC State has used Germany to its advantage. Wow, Tim Santoro recruits that country so well. And you see with Zimmer, who has only played those 5 games because she missed the last 4 with the national team. Gutenberger, the captain, a mainstay in the center back position. Now, we haven't talked about Annika Wohner too much, but she played for Bayern Munich before coming over out of Poing, Germany. All 3 of them, or rather 2 of those 3 freshmen, Gutenberger, the redshirt junior, and all 3 of them making a sizable impact on NC State's season. And then factor in Cheza out of Spain. She's in goal. And Kawahishi on the right mid. So not only 6 freshmen in this lineup, but 5 internationals as well. Tim Santoro just said, they come in and they're a little more prepared and a little more mature. Here's Kara Elmendorf whipping it into the box.
And that's a really good ball in. It's just making the run for NC State.
There's Graham. There's 2:40 to go before the break here in Durham. Giveaway, and now here's Joseph. She has some help to the side as well. Joseph making a run at it, and she just puts it over the bar. And there was NC State's chance to take the lead.
And this is exactly why you want Joseph picking up the ball early. It's a quick turnover, and she picks it up just outside the center circle of the halfway mark and just takes 3 players on defensively. Oh, and that's a near miss. Doesn't try to go with power, tries to bend that to the upper corner of the goal, and oh, it just floats just high and wide. What a good look, and she can't believe it.
What an opportunity on NC State's first shot of the match. And that was one the Pack sorely needed. I mean, you just see the way that this match has gone. You know that those opportunities aren't going to be there too often. That's what Tim Santoro said. When we get our chances, we just need to put them away. And there's no one you would want to have that ball on their right foot more than Joseph right in that situation.
Yeah, such a golden opportunity for NC State. And that's a risk you run when you're Duke. When you're frustrated with your play, you're not dominating the game like you would like to, finding the areas of space where you could be most dominant and really just playing into the hands of NC State. Game slowed down, Duke players taking too many touches. And you leave yourself exposed defensively, and it was a unforced turnover. Left Sophie Jones not being able to mark Joseph on the counterattack.
There's a strong run now for Duke. Bodie walled off by Soto. And Cheza's got it easily.
That was an opportunity.
I think everyone in Koskinen Stadium just recovering from that shot off the right foot of Joseph.
No doubt about that. It was such a near miss and such a great opportunity from the striker. Especially with limited touches, just took on players, and you saw how out of sorts Duke's defense was. 2 players over-committing defensively, allowed the space to open up for Joseph to attack even more.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5,
No late chance for Duke.
3, 2,
And 45 minutes gone here in Durham, North Carolina. Still looking for our first breakthrough. Both teams, they had a chance, I'll say. I won't say they had chances. They each had one chance, and neither Lori could take advantage.
No, they couldn't. And, you know, if you're going into the locker room right now for NC State, you're fired up. You did well defensively. You made the game predictable, and you had a great opportunity near the end of the half to take a lead 1-0, exactly what Tim Santoro wanted. And then if you're Duke, on the other hand, frustrated with the play, it's about simplifying the game, switching the point of attack, and using the width where they have been so good all year, and start getting runners in the box and diversifying the balls that you're playing in.
All right, Robbie Church and Tim Santoro will head to the locker room with their respective teams, trying to figure out how to get on the board. We are still not separated. Durham after one half. The sun is set on a beautiful evening here in Durham, and we are still scoreless with 45 minutes in the books between number 4 Duke and NC State. Alex and Lori back with you, and Lori, right off the top, we said both of these teams need this match for very different reasons, though, and these 3 points are very, very much still up for grabs.
Yeah, they certainly are. And I think, you know, when you look at this game, I'm more surprised from Duke getting Michelle Cooper back, who's been, you know, so lethal in the attack for them, and just haven't been able to figure it out in that final third to break down NC State. You know, we're accustomed to seeing NC State not scoring a ton of goals, but being good defensively, and it's really played well into their hands so far.
Yeah, it has, and Duke really had the best opportunity, you would say. Certainly the closest, and it was Michelle Cooper. She came so close. Look at this, right off the crossbar, right off the bottom of the crossbar, but just couldn't find the back of the net here.
Well, it was one of the better plays right on top of the box as well. Just the two players, Sophia Jones and Michelle Cooper, trying to link up. And then this is what happens, though, when you don't put your chances away and you don't create a lot of them either. You have somebody like Joseph on the other side, just picks up this early ball and starts running at the back line. And just a near miss, takes it well, just bypasses that top corner.
And clearly right now, I mean, no shots on goal for either team, even though both have come close with one of their attempts. That was the only shot of the first half for NC State. Duke was a little bit more punishing in their offensive third, but just like Robbie Church was telling us, he's looking for some more possession in the offensive third, to be a little more patient. And I'm not quite sure we've seen that in the first 45 minutes, but time here out of half to get that right. So Duke, who now sits in 6th in the ACC standings, which is the final spot in the ACC tournament, even though they're the number 4 team in the country. NC State starting out winless in conference play. They are 0-4, still looking for their first point. All 4 of those matches by just 1 goal. All losses, though, and that is what matters the most. Also, probably, you would say, on the outside looking in at the NCAA tournament, that is, number 62 in the RPI, that's 11th in the conference. And they do not have a win against a top 25 team yet. Close doesn't look great when it comes to the committee, and we shall see if at some point the Wolfpack is able to get it right. Michelle Cooper and Duke getting ready for the second 45. And we are back underway at Koskinen Stadium. Alex Perlman, Lori Lindsay with you here in Durham with a crucial match. It just can't be overstated. When you only have 10 matches to prove yourself and to get into an ACC tournament that only takes 6 of 14 teams, there is not going to be much separating 6 from 7.
No, there's not. And really in this conference, there's not much separating from the top to the bottom either. And we're seeing that take place right now. Duke's been very dominant throughout this season so far. Just haven't been able to figure it out. And that's really credit to NC State, just disrupting their play, slowing it down when needed, and then almost nearly taking one of the best opportunities of the half. Just Joseph pulling it just wide of that top corner of the goal.
So, Lori, if you're both coaches, what are you doing here in the second 45?
Well, for Duke, it's really kind of what we've been saying throughout the first half, which is this more patience in the final third, but finding those wide channels. They're going to have so much success if they can circulate the ball, switch the point of attack, and that might be more than once in a string of possession. So just patience, and then find those gaps and force NC State to have to chase the ball side to side. And then NC State, continue what you're doing. You're defending well. You're making it life difficult for Duke this evening. But then when you do win it, can you play more vertical? We saw how dangerous Joseph can be if she gets the ball early. So can they find her, whether it's over the top or to her feet, so she can run at Duke's back line?
I'm not sure either team is going to be happy with 1 point coming out of this. Both looking to take all 3. For NC State, they absolutely need it in terms of making the ACC tournament, and also for Duke, they're looking to move up from 6 to possibly a top 2 spot. Cooper to Jones, and now Nabet. Cooper and Migley back for Duke after missing 3 matches because of COVID. The offense sorely missed them, no doubt about it. And it's slotted through! Tess Bodie to start off the scoring. There's the Duke goal.
And it's such an important goal for this Duke team. Blocked us so well. She was so active in the first half, primarily on the left-hand side. This time gets more central and just at the last minute plays this through ball. And it's that first touch for Tess Bodie that sets her up. It almost looks like it's going to get away from her. And the NC State's about to make the play from Butler, but in the end she's able to get to it first and just slot it in. And what an important goal that is. Doesn't take a lot, just a little touch in the end to be able to find the back of the net. Such an important goal and such a great way to start this second half for the Duke Blue Devils.
So 1-0 as Cooper tries a long effort on a Cesaretta, and she's up to the challenge.
And Alex, it's
so the first goal finally comes in that 48th minute there.
Yeah, and it's the speed of play that we were talking about. If you're not going to be switching the point of attack, you at least have to keep the ball moving quicker already in these opening minutes. Duke coming out with high energy, forcing NC State to try to keep up with the pace.
And Robbie Church told us that he thought Tess Bodie had some more goals in her. Oh, those words seem prophetic right now. Bodie's 18th career goal for the grad student from Colorado, who has meant so much to this program over the last 5 years. I see right off the bat NC State trying to be a little bit more direct to get it to Joseph on that right side. And now 4 minutes into half number 2, we have the breakthrough. And we know how good a defensive team Duke is. They've only allowed 5 goals all year. This is something that Duke does well. Come out at halftime, 7th goal for them in the first 10 minutes out of the locker room. So I guess whatever Robbie Church says, it sticks at the beginning. But also, this is one of their best starts in program history at 8-1-1. Bet. And back it goes to Royson. Duke hasn't lost much this year, but especially when they score first, they're unbeaten. They've beaten North Carolina and Syracuse in ACC play. Lost to Virginia. Certainly no shame in that, the number 2 team in the country. And then they drew Virginia Tech. A very plucky team down there in Blacksburg this year into the top 25. So Lori, now what is the MO for Tim Santoro and NC State?
Well, they're going to have to come out of their defensive shape somewhat now. We know they went with a diamond midfield to clog things up centrally, especially against Sophia Jones and trying to deny her time on the ball. But really what they did was collapsed it deep into really 2 lines of 4. So now can they come out of that shape, take a few more risks, at least get a point back? But it still goes back to defending well, getting numbers behind the ball when necessary, but then still can you play more direct and find Joseph early on? Seeing them step up.
So are you switching to, oh sorry Lori, but are you switching, more to like a 4-3-3 at this point?
I don't necessarily think that you have to switch your formation. You just might step up your pressure even more. This is the first time that we've seen them not just drop back deep defensively as soon as Duke wins it. And you're seeing how it's paying off for them. They're able to get quick turnovers. Now can they get runners in the box?
There's Hall Robinson. And that draws the corner. Just the second of the match here for NC State. Maybe it will come off a set piece. You got to look for number 5, Butler. 4 goals this season, all 4 of them headers off of set pieces. So she is a big option down there in the box. There she is at the edge of the 6. I'll take it short. Joseph, back outside Kawagishi. Nice ball in, and NC State finishes it off. Annika Woner with the equalizer. Superwoman for the Pack.
And Woner's completely unmarked in the box. And it's a good ball in. It's whipped in with pace. Woner just times her run perfectly, just waits. And then you can see no one, because they're slow to react. I think it's Koskinen in the end that's trying to close her down. Groff. And then showing us the Superman t-shirt underneath. But all she has to do is tap it in. No one near her, no one near defending in the box. It has to be better from Duke defensively.
She was ready for that goal. She came prepared off the bus. Played for Bayern Munich in her native Germany. German national team member from the under-15s. She was at under-19 camp back in June. Could be a big part of them heading forward as well in the international ranks. Oh, what good defensive work tracking back by Zimmer. One of the other 3 German natives in the starting lineup.
But it's a great example of what Duke needs to do. It's just up, back, and then through. Loads of space on the right-hand side. Able to earn themselves a corner kick.
This match has certainly taken on a different feeling. Cooper went way over the top. A lot of contact, but no call there by referee Mark Gorak. Whipped in by Pluck. Cut out by Soto. Now here's Migley. 1v1 on Soto. Flipped in! Just over the bar by Bodie, looking for her brace.
And in these early moments of the second half, Bodie making some really great runs out of the midfield. This time it's just slowed up play. Looks like they're going to try to go inline, but realize it's not on. So able to serve this ball in, and then much like we just saw in the other goal, no one tracks Bodie. Such a good run from the deep position. Does make contact with it, but just gets underneath it. Knows she has to do better. That has to be on frame, especially when you're that close to goal. Really good opportunity, good look from Duke.
You would expect this game to open up just a little bit more now. Just past the 10-minute mark here in this second half with Joseph scurrying into the box. Tried to cut it back. She does. And sliding down, Duke defender is able to take away the danger. And Joseph's starting to get a little bit more involved now here for NC State, number 15.
There's nothing there. Just fall in.
I would call this the exact opposite of what we saw in the first half.
Oh, much more open, much more end-to-end. But Tim Santora said that. Wanted to keep the game tight, wanted to build into the momentum, and gave away that early goal in the second half, but then able to come down, and they're unpredictable, NC State, in the attack. Hard to pin them down, and you can see Duke having a difficult time tracking players, understanding what they're looking for. It's been good movement from Joseph and the front runners.
And you would forgive NC State if they were incredibly discouraged after giving up that first goal. Cooper. But what resilience by Tim Santoro's team. Staring an 0-5 ACC start in the face. they concede in the 48th minute, and then the 53rd, 5 minutes later, they get right back into it. Sunday best this week, we'll have a women's soccer field hockey triple header. Number 5 UNC in Chestnut Hill to take on Boston College starting the afternoon off. Then we'll have the field hockey matchup between number 10 Liberty and number 9 North Carolina. Capping it off with our second soccer match, 17th ranked Virginia Tech and Wake Forest. All three right here on ACC Network and the ESPN app. One app, one tap. A busy, busy Sunday with, after this, each team with all of them in action on this Thursday night in October. We'll have just 5 matches to go. Last chance to not only get into the ACC tournament, but to maybe make their mark to the NCAA selection committee as well. Back up to 64 teams this year to the normal non-COVID season. And a whistle by our referee. It's gonna be a Duke free kick. That one's on Soto. Annika Wohner the difference in this one. And the reason that NC State has equalized with Duke. The 7th goal scored by a freshman for NC State, a team that starts 6 of them. Beautiful threaded ball. Jones. Cut out once again by NC State. That was Soto. She's certainly been one of the main options for woman of the match for the Wolfpack. No problem there for Koskinen to usher it back to Ruthie Jones, who has not had to do too much. She does not have a save, but did give up the equalizer a few minutes ago. Flipped ahead, way off her line at Cesaretta.
And those are the moments, though, when Pluck needs to realize where the space is. She tries to make the run centrally, just narrows the game too much. And we talk about making it predictable for NC State. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Can she just pull her run wide, open up more space for herself? Then you force NC State to have to ask questions. Do we stay with Pluck or do we leave her be and then drop deep into our box, and then the space opens up?
Threaded up by Weber. Gets it right back off of the redirect. Now here's the goal scorer, Wohner. Back to Weber. One of those 6 freshmen, although she is from San Dimas, California. And ushered out. It's just a young NC State team, and one that actually is surprising. In the ACC, there are a lot of them this year, especially towards the top. Look at that, 6 for Louisville and Wake Forest as well. And it's no surprise as you get to more and more experience towards the bottom of your screen, you get the number 1, 2, and 3 team right now in the standings. It is so hard to win when you are a young team in this conference.
It'll be fun
on
to
the
see
counter, NC State. But yes, it will. Hall Robinson, and taken away.
Yeah, and I was just saying it's going to be fun to look at some of those programs like NC State, Louisville, Wake Forest in a few years, because these freshmen are getting valuable experience in such a tough conference earlier in their career.
Kawagishi. Oh, she'll want to do better than that. She had the opening on Jones' goal from just outside the 18. I thought she could have maybe even, Lori, taken one fewer touch there.
Well, I was thinking that she could have even gotten herself into a little bit better position higher up the field and taken one more to be able to get herself closer to the goal. It's always going to be difficult to beat Ruthie Jones from that distance.
Right. I should clarify. One to the side maybe, but you're right. She did have some room in front of her.
Yeah, it's interesting about the movement from NC State, and this is where they are good. Their interchange with their 3 in the midfield. Today it's 4 playing in that diamond, but they have a really good understanding of one another. It's unpredictable. Right now you're finding Duke a bit flat-footed defensively, finding themselves to be the ones chasing now.
Possession numbers have certainly shifted the way of the visitors at this point. Can't miss Ruthie Jones tonight. Not only is she 6 feet tall, but they decided to go with the highlighter yellow goalkeeper kit tonight. We appreciate that, Lori. She's always visible to us.
No mistake.
Duke wearing the pink uniforms tonight in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Oh, and a heavy challenge there on Sophie Jones. So 26 minutes to go here between Duke and NC State, knotted at 1 here at Koskinen Stadium. Alex Perlman, Lori Lindsay with you tonight in a very entertaining second half. There were no shots on goal for either team in the first 45 minutes. And out of the break in the first 8, we saw 2 goals. They'll try to go over the top. Woner wanted it a little bit more on the flanks, and instead it went straight into the arms of Jones down the middle. Duke really slowing this one down. Long seeking ball played up. Comes down to the foot of Bodie. Big turn there from Pluck. Out wide Graham. But she is met by Gutenberger. Check that, Zimmer on the defense. Trying to find the end line, she does. Cut out by the pack. And Weber sends it away to safety. And a whistle. And Graham for Duke down there holding her left shin. Graham all ACC the last 3 seasons. No one is more heralded on the pitch here in Durham than Delaney Graham. Has played every minute in ACC play so far, and the way they're treating it, hopefully just a cramp there.
You know, as a player, Delaney Graham didn't really call so much in the first half. A lot of it, the play down the left-hand side. This is a player that you want running at the back line, getting the ball in the wide channels. Good opportunity, though, right now for Duke to be able to regroup. I think even more so than Tim Santora's team in NC State. Duke feels like just too much individual play, a little frazzled with conceding the goal. Here's that opportunity from Delaney Graham, and
Graham trying to walk it off there, a little gingerly, and she'll come off the pitch for a moment, and Nikki Chico will check back in. She started the last 3 matches with Migley and Cooper out because of COVID. Robbie Church actually mentioned Nikki Chico as someone that really got some valuable minutes, and maybe, you know, not someone that would have if it wasn't for those COVID protocols that were in place. But just another option on a deep team. When you talk about the postseason, especially the NCAA tournament, bit of a grueling schedule with all these, you know, matches at once. Even though, of course, there's time in between, it still wears on you. You need depth. That's almost why you wonder who is going to dethrone Florida State, not only in the regular season, but in the postseason, because they are so deep. It's kind of silly.
Yeah, they certainly are. A ton of experience, really quality players, and, you know, as we mentioned, it's really setting the standard in college soccer. You know, you would think that Duke would be one of those teams. The biggest change for them so far has been their depth in the attack. Able to switch their formation, have more players getting forward, kind of this hybrid 3-back, but at times it could look as 4-back defensively. I think the biggest question forward for Duke is going to be tightening things up on that defensive side, because when you start to play Florida State, get even more into the tournament where it's win and go home, you really have to make sure that you're not conceding goals. But on the other end, where you do have your depth and your most electric players, you're putting your chances away early on in the game when you get them.
Kawagishi switches field. Hall Robinson looking for Soto on the return ball. And Soto got her. Cannot believe it, pleading with the assistant official. Didn't look like much there at all, but Cosme went down. On Saturday, our college football lineup here on ACC Network and the ESPN app. It's Virginia and Louisville starting us off at 3 Eastern, capped off by our ACC Network primetime matchup presented by Geico. 14th ranked Notre Dame in Blacksburg to take on Virginia Tech. The huddle will be there as well. Blacksburg is the place to be in the ACC coming up this weekend. A pretty darn good women's soccer team there for Virginia Tech and Chugger as well. One that has gotten a lot of respect from many coaches we've talked to. Now, Lord, we've watched, NC State in this game for 70 minutes already. We have seen them throughout the year, and it really is sort of unfathomable that they are 0-4, because this is a very talented team, and one that in this second half has really been able to keep possession against Duke and generated some good opportunities, including, of course, the equalizer by Warner.
Yeah, and I think you're exactly right. And I think where just has let them down is just their naivety in terms of being a young squad, a young team that has starting 6 freshmen. And that takes its toll no matter what. And I think it really comes down to just being able to manage the game. And it's something that Tim Santoro talked about as well, just starting and finishing halves well. But this game plan has worked right to what they've wanted it to, or how it should plan out, really. Keep it tight, build momentum. You could argue that they've been the better team in this second half, outside of conceding that early goal.
Yeah, and just try to find one at some point in the last 20 minutes. Fight for it between Elmendorf, Cosme. And there's Graham back in the game. She checked in for Chico a moment ago. Danae Antoine came in for NC State as well during that substitution when Elmendorf checked in for Weber. Hall Robinson going to the bench for the Wolfpack.
Clean it up! Clean it up!
Bodie. Joseph really pressing high, putting some pressure here on Duke, but beautifully worked by Jones. And this one going the way of NC State.
Yeah, I think if you're coming from an offside position, potentially looks like a little bit not sure why they didn't allow the advantage, though. Loads of space for NC State to be able to run into.
Bodie up the flanks. This is somewhere she can really hurt NC State. Cooper making a run, just trying to stay on side. Nabet. Filtered back to Royson. Run here from Graham. Inside, she's got Bodie. Oh, big collision down there in the box. Migley for Duke was right there as she's slow to get up to her feet, but she does as the NC State defense converged on her.
It was a great late run in from Migley, though, because that ball was whipped in with pace.
Kawagishi's got some space now. Joseph on Graham. Right back it goes. Joseph couldn't find it. And this one won't sneak through Jones.
Great build-up play, just the ball gets caught underneath Joseph's feet at the end for that final touch that would have allowed her to get in behind Duke's defense. You know, one of the things, though, Alex, throughout this season for Duke has really been about their wide play and being in this formation with the three center backs, allowing to have those wing backs get higher up the field, designed to play and utilize the wide channels. But it's been NC State. Let's see what happens here. It's been NC State that has had the better wide play, understanding where the space is, and it's really pulled Duke out defensively. And we saw Joseph, she's the one that initially pulled wide to be able to start this, and there's the little touch that just gets underneath her foot and forces her to have to go back, and allowing Duke to get numbers behind, and just an attempt that's never going to beat Ruthie Jones from that distance or with that pace on the into the shot. But on one side it was Joseph pulling wide, and the other up top it was Hall Robinson getting even wider as well. Exact channels that we talked about, Alex, outside those three center backs.
It's just not something that Duke has been able to utilize too much, as Maggie Graham in for Pluck now. Weber coming in for Zimmer, as well as Leah Hall Robinson as the two NC State starters check back.
Yeah, sorry about that, Alex. I was just saying and at times when they've had that opportunity, they've just narrowed the game. It's central runs out wide instead of just holding your positioning. They try to cut in and shuts down the space.
This might be dangerous for Bodie. Cooper, heavy touch, stays with it in the box, and the push on the freshman for Duke. The 1v1 defending by NC State is really what stands out to you, and no surprise, it's Gutenberger again.
Yeah, Gutenberger does really, really well here. And honestly, that's a close look because I think Michelle Cooper does really, really well. And she'll get called for this a lot in college play because she does so well to utilize her body. I don't think she has her shirt. It just looks like Gutenberger loses balance initially on that physical play. And credit to Cooper to be able to stand her ground, trying to get on the end of the ball.
Yeah, you just wonder, Jones going all the way out to the edge of the 18 to take that. You know, you wonder as you get on further and further, maybe in international play or professional play, if that's allowed to go, that little touch there and the physicality, and maybe Cooper's able to find a goal there. Because I didn't see a shirt tug or, really much of anything except a couple of players fighting and jostling for position.
Exactly, and so to be called on a foul, I think those are when you just let the play continue on, because Gutenberger does well to get herself in a position, but then does lose balance.
Guys, connect the passes! Connect them!
Good one coming up after us as well, Virginia Tech and Clemson. Virginia Tech right now in the ACC tournament. If play ended today, Clemson on the outside looking in. So 3 very valuable points on the line as well in South Carolina.
Move it! Move it! Use your body! Use your body!
Duke throw with just a dozen minutes to go in regulation. And remember, in college soccer, you count down to 0 and you only play till 0. There is no stoppage time in the college game. Royson, Hall Robinson got her right foot in there to take it away. And a shove in the back by Woner. Referee Mark Gorak's not going to let that one go. Jones fell down hard. Nabet. Seeing them try to use those wider channels a little bit, but NC State back behind the ball, numbers defensively. Just nowhere really to go up the flanks. I'll try this one over the top, but the pack there once again. You can feel the tension mounting for both teams as well. With these points so important. Can either team find a late winner? Hall Robinson, from 2 very impressive takeaways the last few minutes.
Yeah, right idea from Sophie Jones, just not enough pace on it. Does allow Hall Robinson to get back and make the play. And that's where one
Joseph
of the 3
really
center
pressing
backs.
up.
Well, that's where one of the 3 center backs for Duke needs to recognize there is only one striker at the time up top. It's Joseph for NC State, and can somebody step into that space and get the ball from Nabet?
Oh, beautiful turn. Nice touch by Bodie. Does she have any help, though? Her pass was deflected just as far as Jones. It falls to Cooper. Well, here's where we stand with 9:45 to go in regulation. 1-1-hour score. And here's the opener. Came in the second half, 48th minute for Bodie. This was a big one, though. Kawagishi to Woder. Japan to Germany. The equalizer. Woder the superwoman for NC State. And we are tied because of that. It's been a match that has certainly had its moments. You feel like towards the middle and end portion of each half, things have kind of died down offensively, sputtered towards midfield. We haven't seen too many great offensive looks, but the beginning of each half has been pretty electric, honestly.
Yeah, it certainly has. And, you know, I feel like it's one of those games, too, that regardless of what happens with the result, both coaches will look to this game as a big learning aspect to it for both sides. For NC State, you know, knowing that they can play on the front foot, they can defend as a team, play on the front foot, create opportunities against one of the highest ranked teams right now in the ACC conference. And then for Duke, about how they can continue to be better, exposed a little bit defensively so far in this game, and then also just more patience in the final third when things aren't going their way. Who's going to be that player with the experience that they have is going to settle this team down and say, hey, listen, this is where we want to play. This is where the space is, which has been out wide. And we're going to be patient in that build-up, regardless of what our opposition is presenting us.
Elmendorf with Graham in her hip pocket. I think that's off of Elmendorf. Yes, it is. Duke throw. Duke has had some late experience putting the ball away. 2 88th minute goals. McGuire did it against Eastern Carolina, and Pluck did it against Washington. So, and NC State has given up 3 goals in the last minute. So it's something just, I'm sure, is in the mind of the Wolfpack out there on the field that, hey, we need to be stout defensively towards the end of this match.
Yeah, just be smart of where you're playing the ball and don't give any chances away or take any risks defensively once you do win the ball. And then for Duke, it's really about continuing to play quickly, see if you can bypass the first line of defense that stepped up for NC State.
Here's Graham. Flicks it into the box. Now, once again, that NC State back line is just impenetrable tonight. Just that one mistake with Bodie. And Bodie trying that turn once again, that little touch and turn, that has worked. Hall Robinson. Now check that, Danae Antoine, number 8 for NC State with 6 minutes to go. Back to Duke. Cooper gets past Thomas. Nothing on the Duke attack that time. And now they will stop for Cooper, who was slow to get up. And she's going to head over to the sideline for some treatment.
Well, she's, you know, love to see that, and she's had to drop really deep in this game to get herself involved because it's been difficult. But you wonder, yeah, it does look like a little bit of some cramping and having to miss 3 games, working her back into a full fitness.
That's kind of what I was wondering as well. Cooper playing 74 minutes. She is usually right around that, 60, 70 minute mark, so maybe even a little bit more stretch. But Robbie Church told us there was not going to be any minute restriction. Bodie. Gets around Soto. Has some help in the box, but it finds the head of an NC State player. Graham can't find it. Gutenberger's there. Earlier a yellow on Fernanda Soto for NC State. So that's our first caution of the match, and it comes with 4:41 to go. Which team is really going to push here at the end? Is it Duke? Well over the bar. Now, long effort, you can't really blame Pluck for trying it. Player that was inconsistent the last 2 years, but Robbie Church says really playing like a senior this season with those 4 goals and 4 assists to lead the way for the team. Duke gets out of the clog. Graham making a run out the right side. Kept it in play. Big shove there by Zimmer. And a whistle.
And that has to be a yellow card. There was no attempt to even try to play the ball.
That was just a push.
That's a yellow card. Just goes right for the body of the player. Doesn't even try to make an attempt on the ball.
And there was less on Soto too, and she got a yellow. Bodie. And another header coming up. No, it's a corner. Got over the end line, and Bodie will take it now for Duke. Crucial moment here in the match. And that was Graham as well, the younger Graham, Maggie Graham, throwing it over the bar. 2:25 to go in a match that is evened at 1, 2 goals within 5 minutes of each other. 48th minute by Bodie to put Duke on top, and then in the 53rd minute, Woner got her 4th of this season.
There's a ball that just bounces right to Maggie Graham, tries to get her hips around it, slices through it, nowhere near the goal.
2 minutes left. Graham has gotten the ball into dangerous spots out of the right wing back position, that is. She's made a few runs in the last few moments. Is that where Duke goes with 1.5 minutes left? Jones in the holding midfield. Back it goes with a flag up. Maggie Graham offside with 1:19 left.
And that's what Duke wants, a quick little interchange. Maggie Graham just needs to understand where she is according to that line. If she's going to come across, she has to hold her run. And at the last second when that ball is going to be played, then she can get into those little gaps.
Stays with Sophie Jones. Out wide it goes. Has Bodie in the box if she wants her. Instead, the shot blocked away by NC State. Just as far as that, though. Second try right into the hands of a Cesaretta. And that'll do it at the end of regulation.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5,
And the pressure from Duke continues to come, and another sliding save. Looks like from Gutenberger just to keep it out, and then the attempt right into the hands of Echezarreta.
Zeros on the clock, so we are at the end of regulation. Overtime awaits. And here is how it works in college soccer. 10-minute periods, that is. Sudden victory, golden goal, whatever you want to call it. If a goal is scored, the game is over. There is no re-entry in the first or second overtime periods for substitutes, and it will be a draw if 20 minutes is not enough to separate NC State and number 4 Duke. 90 minutes in the books. It was not enough for two teams fighting to get into the NCAA tournament and the ACC postseason. 1-1. Overtime coming. It is overtime here in Durham. 1-1 our score. Early second half goals for both Duke and NC State, and 3 crucial points still on the line. Alex Perlman, Lori Lindsay back with you. And Lori, we would have thought that maybe we found a second goal for one of those teams in the second half. It did not end up that way. Some really stout defending by NC State. And I know you'd like to see some better decisions in the offensive third from Duke here in OT.
Yeah, I think you just summed it up perfectly. It's been great defending for NC State. When they had a few chances, they took one of them, which was an excellent goal. And then for Duke, have had the majority of the possession, the majority of the play in the final third throughout this game. But just a poor decision, their final pass, their final touch, their final decision-making, just letting them down throughout this game. The space is still wide. Utilize it and serve balls in and see what NC State can do in terms of defending in their box from those wide services.
Well, this is how we got there. 48th minute, only 3 after the break. Was the breakthrough, and this for Duke and Tess Bodie. Beautiful touch, and then goes 5-hole Megs Echezarreta.
Yeah, it was great energy from both sides coming out of halftime. Tess Bodie making some good runs out of that midfield position, and then NC State responding quickly. It was an excellent goal, whipped in, and then Owner just getting on the end of it. No one marked, no one near at all. Too easy in the end, but just makes good contact and slots it to right into the back of the net.
Michelle Cooper, the freshman, returning from some cramps and gets us back underway here in Durham. She went out for the final few minutes, but good to see her for the offensive side of things. This game can't end before 20 minutes without a goal from either side, and Duke hoping maybe it's Cooper returning from COVID. It would be her 7th of the season. If you're just tuning in and looking for Virginia Tech and Clemson here on ACC Network, we will get you to Clemson right when we are finished, but for now, it is starting on the ESPN app. So head over there, and you can watch the beginning of that match.
Come on, D, come on, D. Stop! Stop!
If you're joining us here, Alex Perlman, Lori Lindsay with you, with Duke sitting in the number 6 position, the last team in the ACC tournament at the moment. The Wolfpack is 0-4. In ACC play, 4 straight 1-goal losses, and there's a free kick going the way of the Wolfpack, and maybe a dangerous position here.
18 plus 3.
And that's some of the vertical play that we've been talking about. Hall Robinson does well.
With you,
Just get her body behind it, keep control of it, and drawing the foul. Good opportunity for them to be able to whip a ball in or float it in right into the space behind where you see that line of players for both teams.
So Antoine there draws the foul. And we are going to have a yellow card here from Mark Gorak on a coach. Robbie Church issued the yellow. In his 21st season, looking for his 100th ACC win tonight. Here's Gutenberger. Floated over the top. No problem for Cosme. Jones' second effort. And it's away.
Go get it. Go get
Very
it.
easily done. Neither team with a result other than a draw in overtime. Couple of them for NC State and one for Duke. It came against Virginia Tech. Graham on the wide side. There's Zimmer. Duke threatened at the end of the second half. They had 6 shots in the final 10 minutes. But nothing close. 3 shots on goal for both teams. Pushed out by Groff. There's Migley. Nabet. Back to Graham, who's seen a lion's share of possession in the last few minutes. Tried to thread it right back to her. Pluck. And another stoppage. This time Zimmer is down for NC State, holding her leg. And we're getting past the 90-minute mark, and cramps hurting both teams. Here's where we stand at the moment. 6 teams get into the ACC tournament. Everybody below that gray line is on the outside looking in. And right now, Duke, the final team in, even though they're the number 4 club in the country in the polls. NC State, like BC, Syracuse, looking for their first point of the season. So you can imagine for Robbie Church and Tim Santoro alike, he would love to find 3 points at the end of this match. Thomas wiggles her way out of trouble a few times. Beautiful ball to Soto. And now here's Kawagishi. That turns. Pluck, tripped up by Soto. And if that is a yellow card, she's done. And they're down to 10 men.
That should be a second yellow.
It's not. Wow.
That should be a second yellow.
Fans agreeing it should be a second yellow card. Let's see.
And that's a great ball in, just on the wrong side of Soto. Makes her have to turn and shift, and Pluck trying to get in the end. And again, no attempt to play the ball. We saw that last play against Zimmer that didn't get a yellow card either. Some inconsistencies with what is a card and what is not.
Bodie into the box. Headed away once again by NC State. And now Joseph is trying to start the counter of her own. The Wolfpack extremely fortunate to not be playing with 10 players down there on the pitch at this point.
You know, and even over time, but that is something that Duke needs to be mindful of as well, continuing to play those balls into, whether it's Cooper or last opportunity was Pluck being threaded through. Keep forcing Soto to have to come up with those plays and at least draw yourself a set piece or try to pull another card on Soto.
It certainly changed the game. Hall Robinson has some pace to her. Oh, and it's just through Antoine's legs. Just when the offense was developing there for NC State. With less than 5 minutes to go, we are more than midway through overtime number 1. If it is still 1-1 after those 10 minutes, we will head to a second 10-minute period. Our college football lineup for Saturday. right here on ACC Network and the ESPN app. Saturday, the Huddle is live in Blacksburg at a special time of 1 Eastern, getting you set for the afternoon. And then the Crew's back at 6, getting you ready for number 14 Notre Dame, Virginia Tech, right here on ACC Network and the ESPN app. One app, one tap. Hall Robinson. Nothing took her down but her own momentum that time. Not even looking around for a whistle. NC State's last shot came to the 74th minute. And now we are almost 7 into overtime at this point. Staying with Duke, obviously, when you look at the numbers, dominate offensively. Though you wouldn't say, if you've watched the game, that the numbers have really matched the run of play. NC State's had some opportunities too, but Duke's had shots. Not great ones, though. Migley looking across. Weber dispossessed her. Intercept comes by Jones. This is her specialty, picking out the right pass when it's needed the most. Graham. Bodie. Joseph can run. Just 2 minutes to go now for NC State and Duke in the first overtime. Joseph.
Nothing.
Just right into the boots of Duke. And we're going to have another stoppage here, it looks like, with a Duke player on the turf. And this time it's Groff. Seen a lot of cramping going on here, Lori, especially in the overtime.
Yeah, both teams putting in a lot of work defensively. We saw Groff at the end doing all she could to save that ball from going over the end line to prevent a corner kick.
And major minutes, too. For Duke, they've only used 4 subs. NC State has only brought 2 off the bench, and Danae Antoine and Kara Elmendorf. But for Duke, I mean, you've got Cosme, Jones, Bodie, Royson, Groff, and basically Graham, except for when she came off with the cramp. They have all played every minute of this match.
And especially that back line, the amount of minutes they've played. We talk about their depth for Duke, but a lot of that is in the attacking side of their team. Those center backs for Duke put in a lot of minutes, consistently the starters. Little rotation, as you just mentioned, for some of these players, but then not even talking about the defenders.
Still tending to Groff down there. Sydney Simmons is the one that is warming up. And even if you're not cramping, why not get a stretch in there towards the end of this match?
Hey, we defend here.
Yeah, Groff gonna get some refreshment there.
Hey, lock in right now.
And so there's Simmons, number 16.
Yeah, I think you're right.
She's had international youth experience with the Team USA. Pretty nice to bring somebody like that off the bench. Just barely Duke able to clear that out of bounds on the sideline. That ball was rattling in there for a while, kind of wondering who was going to be the one to clear. Graham now. Two-man game with Simmons. And a Tackle comes in from Joseph. Staying with Duke with a minute left here in the first
1
overtime.
minute.
Throw in Soto and NC State. Again, if you're looking for Virginia Tech and Clemson, right now it is airing on the ESPN app. We will get you there once we are through in Durham. Still 1-1. Since the 53rd minute, that has been our score here at Koskinen Stadium. Good ball in.
10, 9,
And just goes past the run of Migley.
6,
Can she whip it back one more
4,
time?
3,
No one home but
2,
Woner for
1,
NC State.
0.
And so 100 minutes, not enough to decide this ball game between NC State and Duke. Second OT coming up with 3 crucial points still on the line here in Durham on ACC Network. We are still looking for a winner in Durham between number 4 Duke and NC State. Game goals at the end of the second half, or beginning of the second half, that is, here between the Blue Devils and the Wolfpack, and it has been a dominated series by the Duke Blue Devils, unbeaten in their last 20 matches against the Wolfpack since 2001, 18-0-2. The last NC State win, it was in 2000, but it was in Durham. There's a 3-1 margin. That is not what it will finish as. It is golden goal scenario, sudden victory with 10 minutes on the clock, Lori. That is all that separates these two teams from 1 point and a potential 3 points. Again, how we got here. 48th minute, finally, Duke found the scoreboard.
Well, both teams coming out with some good energy. This time it's Tess Bodie out of that midfield position. Just towing it in the end, getting the first look at it. But it's a great response from NC State, just whipping this one in. Duke doesn't deal with it well defensively. Warner's the one that finds the back of the net. And that would be really just the game summary, and the fact that there's been a few opportunities from each team outside of that, but nothing that was a real clear-cut opportunity or something that was really testing each other's goalkeeper.
Real quality for NC State. 4 shots, 3 of them on goal. For Duke, it has been really on the quantity side. 17 shots, but just like NC State, only 3 of them on goal against Maria Echezarreta. Woner will get us back underway. The goal scorer, 5'7" freshman out of Germany for NC State. Katie Groff, after coming out towards the end of that first half, has not come back in. Instead, it's Sydney Simmons to begin things on the pitch in overtime number 2 for Duke. Bodie has a lot of space to work with on the right side. Back in and right at Echezarreta. Nikki Chico almost ended it for the Blue Devils and gave Duke 3 points.
It's a quality ball in from Tess Bodie on the right-hand side, just with pace. Tough to deal with if you're a defender. Whipped in behind that back line.
She was offered so much space as well as it's out for a goal kick.
Here's another look at that opportunity. And this is why I've been confused on why Duke has not used the width more often. Loads of space out wide, and then when they can whip those balls in, it is difficult to deal with. And if you have the runners, really good opportunities for Duke, just hasn't utilized it. They've made the field narrow throughout this game and predictable for NC State defensively.
They've had the better run of it, though, in overtime. Pluck could end it from there. Instead, shifts it back out wide for Graham. Sends it into the box, and a great defensive job by Gutenberger.
And we talked about how important she is to this team on both sides of the ball, but Gutenberger really stepped up to this game, just been all over the place and just understands where this ball is coming from. Tess Bodie making that run from the midfield position again. Gutenberger just timing it perfectly to arrive when the ball's arriving.
She has been so incredibly important. The captain for NC State, Lulu Gutenberger. Oh, what a ball here. Paul Robinson. Couldn't pick out the pass. Kawagishi, second try over Sophie Jones' goal.
And a good build-up play from NC State. I originally thought Hall Robinson was offside. So didn't feel like the assistant referee saw it, was able to catch up to the play in time. Looks to try to play the ball back on top of the box, but it's the timing of the runs, the placement of the runs just a little off.
That was a handball on Weber. And now Mark Gorak is going to talk to Robbie Church. Church already has a yellow card. Church is just not happy whatsoever with the officiating. He's got a couple gripes, I got to be honest with you. There was one play where Fernanda Soto took a player to the ground. It was not a challenge for the ball, already on a yellow card. And very easily, Duke could be up a man in this game. Bodie. There it goes to Chico. Now it's Pluck. Chico. Pluck again to the middle. Bodie denied by Soto. And Soto is down. Once again, at the very last moment, the Wolfpack back line comes up huge. They
and
just
Alex,
seem to defend in the nick of time.
And it's great individual work from Pluck on the left-hand side. Bodie arrives at right in time, trying to get in front of Soto, and then Soto going to ground, making the play, and that has really been the story of this game. Last-ditch effort, putting their bodies on the line. NC State doing whatever they can to at least get the point.
Soto will be helped off the field. Again, if you're looking for Virginia Tech and Clemson, that battle in South Carolina now airing on the ESPN app, and we will get you out there just as soon as we are finished in Durham. 6:27 left. It is sudden victory, first goal wins. And if we get to this end of the second overtime and nobody's scored, then it is a draw, and 1 point awarded to Duke, 1 point awarded to NC State. Though certainly a match that Duke had circled as 3 points as they try to get back in this ACC regular season championship race. Right now sitting on 7 points, and that is 5 back of Florida State, who is unbeaten. And Soto has come back in now for NC State. Perfect ball up to Joseph. Can she hold up play for a little bit, or does she go 1v3?
Stop! Where'd he go?
Finds Woner. There's the goal scorer on the edge of the 18. And ushered out of bounds by Royson for an NC State corner kick coming.
Let's go, Duke. Come on. Well done. Nothing here, Duke.
Corner kick for NC State, being taken by number 7, Emeka Kawaguchi.
Look out for number 5 here in black, Jenna Butler. 4 goals this year. Every goal ahead or off a set piece. Kawagishi. She'll come right back to it. And a low cross in, dealt with easily by the Blue Devils. Popped in by Gutenberger over the end line. And Duke can breathe a sigh of relief with 5 minutes to go, midway through overtime number 2. Lori, at this point, I mean, what is it like to play 105 minutes in a match and, you know, still have this game be so close?
Well, there's a lot. There's nerves involved. There's a desire to want to win these games. You're tired. These games are in quick succession. It's a short season, but a lot of games involved. And these games are tough for these players. So not surprising that we're seeing players go down for cramping, especially with the amount of running they put into this game.
How much do nerves factor in at this point?
Well, I mean, at this point in time, in terms of nerves, you're just anxious and excited because you want to score that game-winning goal. But you are played into this game. There's a rhythm. You've tuned everything else out. So outside of the desire to win, I did say nerves, but it's more of like a anxiousness to try to get the 3 points.
Right, you probably just want to score so badly at this juncture with just 3.5 minutes to go in overtime number 2. So NC State is going to get a little bit more offensive firepower here with Danae Antoine, goal and 2 assists this season. Played her first 2 years at Cal, scored 3 goals in her sophomore season, and now senior out of Chino, California, will try to maybe be the difference for Tim Santoro's team. Chico. Pluck dispossessed. Is it a corner? No, it's not. Goal kick for NC State with 3 minutes to go.
And this definitely looked like it went out for a corner. Pluck doing well again. Actually, I do think it's the right call, though. Gutenberger doing well. So last second, not getting the little deflection.
Graham comes down to Jones, right foot. Threaded through, here's Buck. Oh, Bodie dummied it back. Graham couldn't finish. Once again, NC State's back line up to the challenge. You'd imagine this line is for Duke is going to be pushed up pretty high to try to get this winner. Could it be Cooper? No call after she's taken down. Duke regains. Graham, centered to Bodie. Takes it down and fires. Couldn't get it down to the half volley. Heavy legs, heavy breathing here at the end of this second overtime. It will be positive if this result holds for NC State because it will be their first point in ACC play. But with only 5 matches remaining after this in conference, they need to start putting 3 points each match on the board if they want to make the postseason. Jones, 40 seconds left to Bodie. Buck reverses course, centers to Bodie, too heavy a touch. Cleared away by Soto. Here's Joseph. She has the goal scorer, Woner. Antoine's there as well. Joseph wins it for NC State. The first ACC win of the season for the Wolfpack. And who else but Jamise Joseph?
And that's the game of the final score, NC State 2, Duke 1.
And what an individual play this is from Joseph. We talked about vertical play. It's one timeout after NC State won this ball, and then Joseph just goes on an excellent run, draws all three defenders from Duke over to her. Just one touch inside the box to get it out underneath her into that right foot, and to just cool, calm, and collected with the inside of her foot. Bends it to the far post, tucks it in, and what a game-winning goal. And we talked about how important this game is for both teams, but especially for NC State, to start building momentum, to start getting themselves mentally in a right position and win some games. And no better player to do it than Joseph for the...
Joseph got it right. After a near miss at the end of the first half, she punishes the back of Sophie Jones' goal to win it for NC State over Duke in double overtime. The first win for the Wolfpack in Durham since 2000. What a remarkable win, maybe one that jumpstarts NC State. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Alex Perlman. We'll send you to Virginia Tech and Clemson.